Hi guys, welcome to Commercial Law Tutorials, a channel where you learn all about law, from the law of contract, law of purchase and sale, law of lease, law of property, and law of employment, just to mention a few. Whether you're an employee or you're an employer, we all have you covered. We are looking at law of employment. We have already looked at the definition of employment. Then we also looked at the formation of the contract of employment, as well as the duties of employee. Today we are moving on to lesson number 4, the duties of employer. In this lesson, we'll look at the duties of the employer, and at the end of the lesson, we'll look at popular exam questions relating to this lesson. First duty of the employer is to pay remuneration. The employer should pay the stipulated wages or salaries when due. The amount is governed by agreement between the employer and the employee, but should not be lower though than the maximum prescribed for the industry and grade of work also. The general rule is that the employee is not entitled to the remuneration unless he has done his work, except where employer suspends him pending investigations. The second duty of the employer is to provide good working conditions. The employer should provide reasonable care for the safety of the employee, which is free from harassment, safe, and without risk to the employee's health. For instance, when we talk about ventilation, lighting, and a clean environment. We should note that liability for death or injury of an employee depends on proof of negligence on the part of the employer. That is, if the employer orders an employee to work in a condition which he knows to be very dangerous, then he will be liable in case of injury or death. The third duty of the employer is to provide work. In Zimbabwe, under common law, the employer has got the duty to provide work, especially when the remuneration of the employee depends totally or partially on performance of work. For instance, where there is a basic salary and a commission. Then, where also there is failure to provide work would lead to loss of reputation of the employee. There are exceptions to this duty. The employer cannot provide work when the employee is sick or is on leave. The other duty of the employer is to provide leave. This differs with states, but in Zimbabwe, legislation in force requires leave to be granted to every employee, as it is seen as a right for every employee. This leave includes sick leave with pay. The other duty is to be vicariously liable to third parties for injuries or damages arising out of wrongs committed by his employee within the scope and in the course of his employment. Thus, employer should compensate. That is what we are saying. Employer should compensate third parties for any harm done by the employee to the third party while employee was on employer's assignment. That was it, guys. Let us now look at popular exam questions relating to this lesson. The first question I have for you is, list the 3 implied duties of an employer under common law in Zimbabwe. The second question is, critically analyze the duty of employer to provide reasonable accommodation for workers with disabilities, referencing to relevant legislation. That was all I had for you. I have a store that I sell law merchandise. Just go and look at whatever I'm selling and promote me, guys. From bags, t-shirts, look at them, guys, they are really nice. Bathroom curtains, and also journals. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next lesson.